topic number one is the NBA return. And we're going to go over the format and see what KP thinks. So, just a little what's going on here is there's going to be a 22 team reset. There's going to have 9 teams from the East, 13 teams from the West. There will be 8 more seeding games, they're calling it. So they're taking their what they ended with at the shutdown, adding 8 more games, and the top 8 teams will go into the playoffs, but there's a catch. If the ninth seed is within 4 games of the 8th seed, there will be a small play-in series of best of 3 where the 8th seed already has a 1-0 lead. So basically it means the ninth team has to win twice and the 8th team only needs to win once to advance into the playoffs. And then after that, it'll be a normal NBA playoffs that we're all used to, 7-game series throughout. What do you think about it?
What do you think? Oh man, and this is really surprising. I think this is funny. That's the first topic, but I am not the biggest Jordan fan there is. But I was a very big fan of his comment when he said that he doesn't want the NBA to be gimmicky, doesn't want them to do anything different. Keep the sport how it is. Top eight, East and West. Don't do anything different. And I agree with him. I mean, I think that it needs to stay the same, and there's no reason to change it. There's no reason to mess with it. I think it's a good system. I think the 7-game series is still great. I would kind of like to see it go back to 5 games in the first round. But it works out, and it's still a very popular event. The only thing I don't like is there's uneven teams on both sides, but obviously with record and things, I mean that's going to happen. And
yeah, that was definitely odd. That was definitely odd that how they were going to try to make that work. Basically, give 5 teams on the West to make it, and only 1 extra team from the East. But they took everybody within 6 games, right, basically, because I think the Wizards are exactly 6 games behind Orlando, and then the Jazz I think were the lowest seed behind whoever the 8th seed was at this time. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah. So they obviously that's how they decided to do it, but it's definitely an odd way to take advantage of it. But I don't mind the system. I think it's actually kind of going to be fun. And that play-in series is going to be intense. If we get we definitely should get one on the West, a play-in series, because there's already like 4 teams within 4 games on the West.
Yeah.
So
I know the Blazers and the Pelicans are definitely going to fight for that last spot there for sure. And I'm excited to see it because, I mean, Damian Lillard's been talking. I don't know if you've seen his workout videos, but that dude has been going at it. He is boxing, he's lifting, he's obviously shooting and dribbling and all that stuff because you have to do as a basketball player. But it's just so cool to see some of these guys and how creative they're being. Also, I mean, obviously in their $1 million mansions and different things, but their workouts have been very interesting to watch. So I'm interested and very intrigued to see who comes in and is like normal and who comes in and is just a sack of potatoes. So I can't wait for it.
Fair enough. So another part about this return is all the games are going to be held in Orlando, obviously due to the COVID-19. And there was, according to the New York Times, they're reporting that people will come into the bubble, the players will come into the bubble, and they will be required to be quarantined for up to 48 hours until they receive 2 negative COVID-19 tests. And any players that leave the bubble environment would undergo a 10-day quarantine upon their return to Disney, according to ESPN. So they're basically essentially not allowed to leave once they go into the bubble, right, or else you're going to miss games. I guess unless you do it during training camp, but once games start, you're not allowed to leave the bubble. Because also, if you leave the bubble, if you risk if you leave the bubble, even if you come back, yeah, you're at 10-day quarantine. But I bet if you test positive, that's going to be up to a 14 day. So you're risking potentially 2 weeks that you're not coming back.
Yeah, and that could be the difference for some of these teams too. I mean, they're playing. What are they playing? They're playing back to backs. They're playing because those first 8 games are scheduled in 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, I think they said July 30th to like August 14th, so just
Something
over
like
2
that.
weeks. Yeah.
So if you leave during like that time and you get quarantined for 2, well, now you're out. Like you're
Yeah.
basically seeing injury and you're gone. Like it's so I that to me, I mean, it makes sense as far as like the coronavirus and like they're worried about people getting positive for it, and obviously like Rudy Gobert and all these other players tested positive for it, and they're kind of worried about that. Donovan Mitchell, I think, was another one. Um, but at the same time, it's like they are grown men. They know how to take care of their bodies. They are higher level athletes. I feel like they should let them a little bit of leeway. I mean, I don't know any of the playoff teams like what they would do to risk it really, because the ones that don't want to be there, that don't want to play because of health reasons, are sitting out. Avery Bradley came out
Mm-hmm.
a few days ago and was like, "Hey, I'm not playing. I don't care if we're first in the West or if we're in the running for the last spot. I'm not playing."
Right.
So it
Yeah,
just
so
depends.
let's
Like,
go into that. We'll go into that a little bit. So, will the NBA return because of all this stuff that's going on is the question. So, obviously there's two reasons going on, two big reasons of why the NBA could be potentially canceled for this return. And this first one obviously being coronavirus, like you touched on a couple of players that have already gotten it and are definitely anti. And the big deal is you're going to possibly be stuck for 3 months in a hotel where you are literally just doing hotel to basketball gym, back to hotel to basketball gym. Like you get 3 meals served a day at the hotel. You're not allowed to go out to eat. You're not allowed to do anything. See your family, see anybody for that matter. Like you're just going to be stuck to a hotel room or on the basketball court. And a lot of players are not feeling that. That's not something they're excited about. Uh, Avery Bradley, as you said, is definitely one of them that does not want to return due to risks of coronavirus because his son reportedly has had problems with respiratory illnesses in the past, so he does not want to get his son sick at all. And somebody also brought up a good point of, I think it actually may have been due to the NFL, but it's still a point around coronavirus, is when you test positive, where are you going to go? Like,
right.
you going to be in a hotel for 2 weeks? They're going to put you in another hotel for 2 weeks, or you're staying there for in quarantine, or basically some of these players may just have to end up going home, and their families are just going to be at risk when they go
Yeah,
home.
I mean, especially if you're an overseas player, like how are you going to go from staying in Orlando in a hotel and then now flights are really hard to get. I mean, obviously with the money and everything in the NBA, you can probably get one, a private jet, whatever it is. I mean, I'm sure they can get over there, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just got to cause more issues too because like I don't even know. Like, let's say you're from Russia and you're from the far part of Russia. You're almost closer to China than you are to the United States or whatever. That's going to be a long flight, and if you're sick, if asymptomatic or not, I mean, I would feel kind of like a bad person for putting a person on a flight just because hey, we told you to come over here, now we're sending you back. So I mean, I
Yeah,
don't see the
what's
logic in that either.
so it's very interesting what they are going to decide to do once a player tests positive in the unit. It may literally just be they have to go home, and it's kind of it is what it is, or
And
they're
what
on their
about
own.
rosters? Yeah,
Yeah,
what about your roster too? I mean, like if you have a player that tests positive, now can you go sign a free agent in the same position, or do you have to just wait it out? I mean, Jamal Crawford is still floating out there. If the Lakers had any kind of brains, which I hope they do, and Avery Bradley said, "Now go sign Jamal Crawford. He had 51 in his last game. Why would you not sign him? Like he can still play ball." But
yeah, it's hard to argue with 51 points.
like,
That's tough.
yeah,
But yeah, I hope they come. Like, I hope this just. It sounds like the NBA did just apparently send the players' union a full security plan that has not been released to the public, so we don't know what is in that security plan yet. But we'll see what Chris Paul and the NBA PA has to say about that once it comes out. But now there is a second reason that the NBA could have see problems, which is the social justice things that are going on in the world right now. And players such as Kyrie Irving, George Hill, and Dwight Howard, and more have made comments that the NBA should not return because that would be a distraction to all of the issues going on that they were fighting for. George Hill said specifically, "I'm not going to shut up and dribble. Like, going to continue to fight for this." But on the flip side, that people arguing for it are saying, such as Austin Rivers had said, no, let's go. Basically, I'm going to paraphrase. Basically, let's go play ball, make our money, and use our money to enact our change, right? Instead
Yeah.
of just dropping in the thing. So
Yeah, just touch on that. I mean, that's where I see the biggest divide in the NBA. I feel like more players are less worried about coronavirus and they're more worried about the social justice, and rightfully so. I don't want to talk about politics or anything on here, or anything like that, but some of the players' comments have been kind of confusing, where they want to support, however they're more like itching to get on the court. I feel like Steph Curry is one of them. He said, "This generation of athlete is very responsible and accountable. I'm proud to be part of the movement." Now he said he's proud to be part of the movement, but I haven't seen anything about him going to rallies or anything like that. I haven't seen a whole lot about his support. Maybe I just haven't followed him close enough. But like his comments are kind of just up in the air about where he's at. And then Lou Williams, the Clippers 6-man
mm-hmm.
score, all that. In 6 weeks, the world may need some healing. They may need us to be on the. But if black kids or black adults or any adults that's dealing with police brutality are getting killed, we are still outraged. I don't know if it's our best interest to suit up. Okay, he says I don't know if it's in our best interest. Well, you know, Lou will, if you want to affect change and you want to do that, you have the power, you have the money, you have the social status, people know you, you know, you can figure that out. I'm sure you can. I'm sure that, someone like LeBron, who is all for playing.
Mm-hmm.
He wants, and it's important for him for his, like, people are saying his legacy and all that. Um, but he's the guy, and he kind of started it. I don't know if you remember or not. Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, LeBron, I think Dwayne Wade. I can't remember who else. They were at the ESPYS, and they all dressed in black, and they all came out there and they taught. They did that 5, 6, whatever minute speech about the same topic. I mean, it was
Yeah.
a very similar situation: police brutality, and it's time for change. Well,
Yeah,
that
well,
kind
I'm definitely on the boat of they should come back to play,
of,
and that would help further their movement. Like,
agreed.
because I think, especially for like Kyrie, who obviously has had other thoughts that are kind of interesting, if you so I
Yeah.
think he's being a little short sighted in the fact that the media cycle is extremely fickle,
Hmm.
right? Yes, the George Hill protests went on for a very long time when you compare it to other protests, right? Like this.
George Floyd. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
George, you're fine. Go ahead.
All right, George Floyd. Yeah, when
You're good.
when he these have gone on for a very long time compared to others, but by July 30th, July 31st, when you return, this could be completely out of the news. Trump bombs Syria. Now
Yeah.
we're done. Who police what? Like like we're maybe going into World War III right now. Like
Yeah.
who cares at this point? Like this, you coming back, wear a patch on your jersey that's says George Floyd. Kneel for the anthem if that's what you want to do, or if you have other things that you want to bring up. Like you playing is going to put more stuff back in the spotlight than you not playing. The media is
Yeah.
going to get tired of covering the same protests every night. Like you can only say BLM so many times for it to be interesting on the news. Like
Yeah, they'll
it's
pick up a different story. They'll
yeah.
go with that. I agree, and I agree with what you're saying too about the whole like demonstrate. Where is a guy like I don't even know. Like, let's say Jared Dudley. Jared Dudley is a established veteran in this league. He's signed with the Lakers. He's going to be on all these playoff runs or whatever is going to go on and stuff. And he's a guy that has said, I don't want to come back because I'm afraid of injury. Okay, well you're not going to play. So you're not really worried about injury. You don't have to worry about that. But what he should be doing is he should be actually one of the ones that's figuring that stuff out, where they get the patches on the jerseys, they get those warm ups, they get that, because like that's where he can really be useful. And we talked about LeBron. Derrick Rose, I think, actually started the "I Can't Breathe" T-shirts. That was huge. I mean, that sent a message right away. Like they
Yeah.
all took off their warm ups, they threw them in the middle of the circle, and they had those shirts on. That was huge. I remember thinking like, wow, this one person's death affected the entirety of the NBA. Like that's when this whole came up
Yeah,
in my mind.
obviously the world, yeah. A
Yeah,
lot more than there was protests across the globe that it was obviously horrible what happened to George Floyd. There's no doubt about it. Like it's
right.
like even if you didn't kill him at that point, just what a hole are you
Yeah,
to sit on somebody's neck for nearly 9 minutes? And
yeah,
it's or a report maybe came out it was only nearly 8 minutes. Okay, whatever. Like it's still ridiculous amount of time to just kneel on somebody. It's absolutely
yeah.
horrible. So it's they definitely have a cause to fight for. Even there's more stuff to about that, but get back on the court. That's how this is going to keep being talked about. It's not going to
Yeah.
continue to be talked about if you
And
don't have it on the court.
and this is not a shut up and dribble like statement. This is where you will affect change. This is where people
Yeah,
see you. Where like that's what we're talking about. We're not saying it's bad doing this stuff. I mean, like that's what we're saying. It's use your platform. Use
yeah.
your platform.
Fight for whatever cause you want to fight for. It's just
Yep.
it's you're not going to do it if you're not like because there's also some WNBA players talking about not coming back for the return to fight for social justice and things like that. It's like
Yeah.
okay, I mean, go ahead and what? Where's the more level of change going to come in? You going to protests or stuff like that, like that are already going to be going on, or are you taking it to the big screen in people's living rooms and saying like, look, you want to watch us, but you're also going to hear this. So definitely
And I
come
think
back to play.
a lot of it was probably like when Kaepernick did all this, when he was kneeling for the anthem and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and he lost his starting job is what a lot of people are saying is that because of the protests he lost. Like and that's pretty. I mean, I would agree with it. I think, um, but like I think a lot of NBA players and WNBA players or other professionals are scared to protest then because then now they're out of their job. Well, now it's like all these NFL owners are coming back and saying, we want him to play. If he's good enough, he should make a roster. Blah blah blah, all that stuff. Um, so I think times are changing. I think we will see when the time comes that people will report, and I think a lot of these people that are like just saying I don't want to catch the coronavirus, or I stand up for social justice and all that. All of it's very real and all that's it's legitimate. But I think we'll see a lot of players back, and I'm hoping for it. I can't wait.